the presentations. Well, I'm very pleased to welcome Clarke Willis and hopefully Dave Martin once we get the technical problems sorted for him to join. And they're going to give us a talk on the Food Enterprise Park at Easton, and related to this, the new condimentum processing plant. Clarke is a director of the Norfolk Food Enterprise Park and was formerly CEO of Anglia Farmers for 15 years. And Dave is the CEO of Condimentum Limited, and he's a qualified industrial engineer and has worked at senior levels in several multinational organisations, including Quaker Oats and Pepsi. And more recently, Dave has worked for several companies as a business consultant, focusing on business turnaround. So hopefully it's going to be an interesting presentation today, and I'll hand over to Clarke to start us off. Thank you, Clarke.
Is that sharing okay, guys?
Yeah, you can probably make it full screen, I would think.
Yes, it's in the process of being done. Okay.
That's good.
Good. Evening, everyone, and thanks very much for listening in. Food processing in Norfolk is a real challenge, and very briefly the background to it. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah. Not now.
Okay, is that all right?
I can see you. I can see you now. I
Okay.
can see the presentation.
Great. So food processing Norfolk. We are the largest industry in Norfolk by far. The real challenge we've got is that over half of what we produce here is actually processed elsewhere. So instead of having manufacturing, processing, adding value here in Norfolk, we're actually exporting a lot of base products straight across to other parts of the country. And if we can actually align our processing to the production, we will add another 2 billion to the economy, which clearly is quite a challenge. Food Enterprise Park Limited has got 4 directors. I just want to point out Ian to you on the right-hand side. Ian is the founder of Food Enterprise Park. It was his dream 12 years ago. The first business plan for what was called Norfolk Food Hub was done back in 2009. That's our base, Honningham Business Park, which is just down the road from the Food Enterprise Park. You can see the Anglia Farmers buildings there with the PV on the roofs that I actually built back in 2010, and therefore I've had quite a history with Honningham. This is the Greater Norwich Food Enterprise Zone, which Liz Truss put in place back in 2015 when she was Secretary of State for DEFRA. It goes from the Norfolk Showground across Easton College through to the Food Enterprise Park, as you can see there, which is 100 acres of development land. A few photographs now of the setup. After I've just said that enterprise zones, basically, there's a lot of them around the country, and they were to enhance rural development through the growth of food businesses. Guys, are you getting a feedback from me?
No, it's okay.
Is it good? Thanks. So they would enhance rural development, but actually put together collaboration between food, farming and research. Our links to the NRP just down the road are very, very strong. There's a lot of work going on to actually grow and develop healthy eating. And I don't need to tell you the importance of the food and drink industry, given all the scenarios that we've got at the moment and the food chain. So the first phase of 48 acres has been given a local development order. So the LDO was put in place by Broadland District Council. You may ask why the whole 100 acres. And actually the reason is very simple. We've got a boundary between Broadland and South Norfolk that runs right through the FEP, which makes life interesting, although now, of course, they are working together. What the LDO gives us is planning permission in place, providing various conditions like height of buildings for food and drink businesses, quite wide in terms of agri-food, distribution, manufacture, processing, small amount of retail. I won't go into the full list, they're on our website, but it does make the planning process very simple, providing it sits within those elements. And basically planning permission can be obtained if it's outside those requirements. So here's a view of the FEP. This is back in spring 2019. And that shows you a view actually looking west from the new entrance that we put in. And you'll see right in the far corner there, and I'll just zoom in on that. You can see the development there of the infiltration lagoon. So there is a 3-acre infiltration lagoon, so all surface water from the FEP, certainly the first 48 acres, then flows straight into this. So infrastructure is in place. That's a sign of a plan of the site looking in the next direction, which is basically turning the drone around and looking to the east. And you can see the start of the condomentum. In this this near corner here is where the new Food Innovation Centre is going to be. More of that later. And then finally, a wider view across to what we call phase 2 land. That pathway through the cereal crop actually is the mains water and pipe, and right where that joins that hedge is actually the A47 lay-by just beyond Eastern Roundabout. So that probably puts you into a view of where we are. So this entrance has been built. I'll look in a few minutes at the new entrance. Come spring 2024, this actually will only be for emergency use only. So the whole site is going to be turned around and we will actually enter through the west, not through the south as we've got at the moment. The infiltration lagoon, after a storm, is well able to cover the normal 100 years plus double. That's a sand base that's in there, and I've never seen any more water than what's in there at the moment. There's a view across looking again to the west. We've taken Spine Road through to those substations, and by May this year, that road, which is adoptable standards, will be right the way through to that hedge, which is the end of the FEP on the western boundary. I'll not do any more than say we'll wait for Dave Martin. That's a zoom shot that I took back in the autumn of their site. So in terms of infrastructure, we've spent about £3 million in putting in place the roads that we've got at the moment, including highways improvements along Church Lane with some passing places. Highways from Norfolk didn't want us to widen that too much because long term there will be another junction, as I say. I don't need to tell you guys of the challenge of electricity and power. We basically took all the power that was available at the back of the BMW garage there, right the way through Easton to substations on Church Lane, and we've got about 4 meg. We have secured 30 meg from UKPN, and we are at the moment busily planning a major development which will come to fruition in June 22 when that pylon line is switched off. It brings all the power from Sheringham Shoal across our land, and the plan as well is 20 meg of solar. That will give us a massive amount of power. It comes at a big price, as you guys can guess. Foul water at the moment is to a large Cargester, but we have got the plans in place to actually go to Anglian water mains. Surface water we talked about, and mains water. We're extremely well connected. I ran 18,000 mobiles and about 10,000 landlines and broadband connections at Anglia Farmers. There is no excuse for anybody in Norfolk not being able to get high-powered broadband. We've actually got a gig available. We're talking about 500 megs anyway of fibre that we've got, which is double banked to BT, but actually provided by In Touch Solutions, who run the Y-Spire. Landscaping, planning, pre-construction details are all in place. This is a view, and we're still working out details with Highways England, of our new connection into the dualling of the A47. They've started survey work on that. Red lines have been drawn. So the island at Easton will disappear, and basically you've got a graded junction just north. The new drawings actually show it a little bit to the east compared to where it is now, with a road back to Easton, and there will be a junction off that, and we're just working out details right now straight onto the FEP. That means that we are going to be located in an ideal and prime place for vehicle movements. And that is Highways England's view of what it could look like. The FEP is that field in the top left-hand corner. Like all developments, we have a master plan and then all of a sudden disappear, and we do what comes along. The plot in the bottom left-hand corner has now been sold. Legals have been done. Development's likely to start in May, and that's the new Food Innovation Centre, which is going to be built by Broadland District Council. We are just finalising and starting on legals now for a new vertical farm just to the north, a 5-acre plot just to the north of Condimentum. So development is starting. 2020 has been quite a difficult year in terms of making things happen, but 2021 certainly is moving forward. So in terms of our developments planned for 2021 is the Food Innovation Centre, which is part of the New Anglia LEP industrial strategy, where there'll be about 13 food grade units targeted at innovative and incubation food and drink businesses, complete with a centre. And I'll talk a bit about that in a second. The large vertical farm I've talked about, that's now just in final stages. And both of those, I know they're going out for tender right now in terms of contractors. And we've got a number of others under discussion, including a research centre and a packaging manufacturer. So a couple of slides on the Food Innovation Centre, which is a major development, and as I say, part of the New Anglia agri-food industry strategy, and important in growing and developing our food and drink businesses. It's got a lot of connections to the NRP and UEA, and it's basically to develop a regional agri-food cluster to actually take those businesses that are small but nevertheless a lot of opportunity to grow, develop. It's going to be owned by Broadland, and there will be a central hub with test kitchens, sensory support, etc., operated by Hethel Innovation. So these will be food grade premises from 1,000 square feet to about 5,000, ready to move into. There is no food grade premises really available anywhere in the region. And as I say, there'll be facilities support with a whole package coordinated by the UEA to develop products, marketing, packaging. And the long-term plan is that those businesses will grow and develop and then take larger units on the FEP. This is a concept of what it will look like. So I basically, the hub at the center, at the front where you see the red arrow, with a road all the way round and the units, with a green avenue down the middle, and access, so offices and production space, as I say, all food grade. And there's an initial visual of what it's going to look like, and those plans are being drawn up as we speak. And finally, I guess I come back to Ian and his big vision. The vision for the FEP is for a centre of excellence for the agri-food industry in the region. Not just Norfolk, we're working very closely now with organisations in Suffolk, and it really is to kickstart, grow, develop local food processing so that we can actually capture some of that 2 billion a year of added value. And yes, long term, the plan is, given our location, that we're looking for a destination for visitors, for tourism, to actually link in with our research, healthy eating, and all of those other elements. A place to learn about the countryside, food production, and dietary health. So that's a quick run through the FEP. Our website address is there. There is a brochure that you can download, and that's got my contact details in it. I'm conscious that you guys as professionals need to be aware that we've relied very much on professionals to help us get to this point. And I'd like to give my thanks to Burkitt's as our legals, Bargav, led by Bargav, to Rossi Long, who were and continue to be the principal designers of the site. Overmill were our principal contractors, together with East Solutions on electricity, and Real did the project management. And we did get great support and continue to from Broadland, from planning point of view, and clearly grant support and ongoing support from New Anglia LEP. Thanks very much.